What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another How to Play here on the channel. Today, I want to give a big shout out to Andrew Holder from Unfun Stuff's 10th place, 4th kind deck under order. Amazing, absolutely amazing. What does this video want to accomplish? So the big thing I want to do is I want to take a snapshot overview look about his deck list, and then the strategies, tactics, and we'll finish with a deck list recap at the end. So let's look at the deck list. So the big things that point out to me, very attack heavy. You can kind of tell that instantly with this lineup, he's going to be playing a lot of attacks because 4th kind gets to ignore that 4th card if looking at his static. And then having a lot of cool flow cards, a lot of damage pump, and a lot of draw power. It looks like there's a lot of draw power happening here with things like passing and calling for backup. Feels pretty good. Doesn't look like to be a ton of on block responses with that 4th kind enhanced. Maybe it's just Vile Seizing and then you get to lift it back up. That was with the quick breaker. But let's see. So how does 4th kind want to play, right? 4th kind loves punishing reckless builds. That once per game of if you have 6 foundations, you have to commit 4 of them is incredible. If your opponent is just deciding to turn off their brain and play directly into your hand. That combined with a ton of stun is just incredible, and the deck plays some very scary pokes. There's one of the ways that Andrew has described it to me as we're teammates is there's sometimes where you're not trying to kill your opponent, but they decide to disrespect a poke or treat it differently, and you go, oh well, now I have lethal. Because he has the ability to cheat in such high difficulty attacks, as his 4th card, reducing 5 diff attacks down to 1, and play it at the end of a string just feels super awesome. Kind of easily can be I kill you on turn 2, but has the resources now to kill you late if required. So let's talk about the bombs, right? We've got Indiscriminate Shock as well as Decaying Palm Slam as like the 2 printed bombs. Indiscriminate Shock saying it gets damage for each of your committed foundations. 4th kind wanting to commit out your entire board and making that feel strong. And the Decaying Palm Slam being, this 6 diff powerful 2 7 base damage move that 4th kind gives an extra 4 damage to. Feels very good, turning the 6 diff into a 2 diff to play as the 4th card feels very good. And not to mention, this card feels very good as the opener, right? It's a 4 low for 7 that you can use 4th kinds once per game on, and they commit their 4 foundations, and then you discard a momentum, choose the remaining 3 foundations, and say, hey, you can't use those for checks. I don't even care about stunning you out anymore. I've basically locked off 7 foundations from you on the turn that I've decided to go in on you. Not to mention the bottom hands makes it a little easier to play out your kill turn. I didn't include it on the bombs page, but like the other thing about the bombs is, 4th kind does give +4 damage to every move, and so even if it's something as little as an electric jolt, that's an 8 damage electric jolt that I've played essentially for free, right? Because it gets -4 difficulty as the 4th card. I'll play it on a 0. It's a 3 mid for 8 with EX2. That kills people. So you can accidentally swing some big haymakers out of nowhere. So let's talk about selective stun, right? Electric Jolt and League Invitation saying that you can either flip it in your momentum or flip it in your stage to attempt to commit down resources. League Invitation, if you do decide to pass it, it essentially said your move gets stunned too, which is an incredible exchange rate. And then Electric Jolt saying flip while it's in momentum to get it. We utilize momentum very well in the deck. And the reason I have all for one full Cowling Strike on here is this card's a beautiful opener, right? If my opponent has a really awesome defensive ability like a Nomu or a or an Eraserhead, I can open with a 1 for all full Cowling 5% strike and just turn their characters sideways. Those characters that, or if I'm playing in the mirror match, if you don't block this one and you want to block something later, I'm going to turn your defensive abilities off on your character. Very strong, very strong. And so playing this card at the beginning, as well as discard your hand to draw 3 cards, utilizing at the end, like yes, I put it in the selective stun. This card's a huge playmaker in this deck. The next tactic that we have is like this guy's not a 5-hander just because of what the order symbol does, right? Draw cards on calling for backup and passing the torch. If calling is your first enhance, you always have it on the board and you flip it and you just draw. Passing the torch says commit. My 5-hander is who's trying to find at least 2 attacks every turn, just doesn't. And then high engine kick for that cycle draw feels very cool at the end of a string to go, hey, this 4 diff attack I've played as my 4th card is a 0 diff, and it's a 4 high for 4. Just kidding, 4 high for 8. I'll discard this other attack card I can't play. It's an 8 high for 8. Can you deal with it? No, I'll slam you in I'll kick you in the face for 8, as well as, you know, redraw a card that I could possibly use. And so there you have it. There's the deck list. A couple things that I didn't really talk about is some more stun with things like Desperate Times and Shock Treatment, requesting assistance to re-ready back up, things like Passing the Torch. And one of the big things that the order symbol got this last set was a card like In Control. A lot of ways that you fought 4th kind was, yes, he committed out your whole stage, but the last move that he plays was relatively slow. Your Indiscriminate Shock was still a 3 low. But playing things like In Control in conjunction with things like Setup Strike say that the next move is going to be, this last move is going to be very, very fast. And so even if you held that 1 low block, it's still not going to get through with the amount of stun and speed. So I want to say big shout out to Unfun Stuff's Andrew Holder again for his 10th place finish at the Kansas City RLE. If you liked this video, let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments down below, and make sure you check out all the other how to plays that I've made. With that said, thank you much for watching, and I wish you well.